It's being live streamed. Got it.
Fine.
So set up your meeting for redirecting to Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Oh. There we go. I'm seeing some wonderful faces here. Let's see. Are you guys seeing our wonderful faces? Let's check this out. Are we live? It looks like that we are live. So we already have one person watching us. Well, welcome to the one person watching. That is absolutely lovely. Thank you so much. Now we have two people watching. Excellent. My name is Georgia. Hello and welcome to SPARC Expert Chats. I am a theater practitioner here in Prince Edward County and a member of the SPARC Board. Now, SPARC is a provincial network, and we would like to acknowledge the traditional Indigenous land on which we are so fortunate to create and partake in the arts. Our organization is situated in Ontario, which is covered by 46 treaties and other agreements, such as land purchases by the Crown, signed between 1781 and 1930, as well as many unceded and disputed territories. Now, what we now call Ontario is home to many Indigenous nations, First Nations peoples, the Métis and Inuit people who have been the traditional caretakers of this land for many generations and who continue to live, work, and thrive here today. Tonight, we've invited Arwyn Carpenter and Carol Anderson from the Flight Festival in Prince Edward County to chat with us about starting a dance festival in rural Ontario. Arwyn is a stranger settler on Turtle Island, living on both Treaty 13 and 57 Williams Treaty territories. They are a queer, trans, non-binary dancer, writer, dance educator devoted to decolonized art making. Arwyn holds an MFA from NYU's Tisch School of the Arts and a Bachelor of Education from University of Toronto's Ontario Institute Studies in Education. And they taught in the elementary division for the Toronto District School Board for, oh my goodness, 10 years. Wow.
Yeah.
And winning awards too for excellence in elementary education. No surprise there. And Arts Teacher of the Year 2017. Arwyn is a skilled in elementary. Oh, they are a skilled dance educator with experiences accumulated over 25 years, the former Canadian Children's Dance Theatre, York University, and Canada's National Ballet School. Arwyn studied for a year with the Wisdom Keepers of the Kapamachakwe Wandering Spirit School. Arwyn is one of 5 co-creators of the Flight Festival. They are an artist member of the Department of Illumination and the PEC Artist Advisory Committee. Welcome, Arwyn.
Georgia, thank you for reading that.
I thought I would memorize it. You know, most theater people would memorize it. And then I thought, no, let's just go with the flow.
You did beautifully. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And with us also, an award-winning contemporary dance artist, Carol Anderson, is a performer, teacher, choreographer, writer, movement educator, and director. She started her performing career in 1970 with pioneer Judy Jarvis's first dance theater company and has performed, taught, and choreographed in professional, educational, and community settings across Canada. Founding member of Dance Makers, she danced, taught, choreographed, and served in directorial roles even with a Toronto company from 1974 to 89. An avid dance author, her writing has chronicled Canadian dance and dancers since the late 1980s, often working with Dance Collection Dance to create notes, articles, books, and online resources. She's also published 2 books of poetry. Carol was on the dance faculty at York University from 2002 to 2016. Currently, she teaches older movers and creates dance text installations for gardens, galleries, and other non-traditional settings. She is a creative team member of Flight, Prince Edward County's Festival of Contemporary Dance. Hi, Carol.
Hi, thank you so much, Georgia. Yeah.
This is really exciting. I have been so fortunate to have seen you guys before and seen your work. And this Flight Festival is a big thing in the county. So let's talk about starting the Flight Festival. Now, can you take us through your process and what made you decide to start a dance festival in Prince Edward County? What steps did you take?
I can speak to that first, Arwyn, if that's okay. Yeah. I went with Arwyn and their mom in 2017 in the summer to see Kristen Foote perform at the Jacob's Pillow Dance Festival, which is a very famous dance festival that was started in the 1930s by Ted Shawn, and it's like a hub of American modern dance and dance of other forms as well. And Kristen, who had danced with a major company in New York for a long time, was doing a solo show. Both Arwyn and I know Kristen from when she was a teenager and worked with a young company, CCDT, in Toronto. So we went to see Kristen doing this solo show in this stunning outdoor setting in New England. And that was actually the seed for Flight Festival, was seeing Kristen in this beautiful venue and seeing how just completely compelling dance outdoors can be. That sense of the dancer as that figure between the earth and the sky, that moving artist, that did it for me. And then, you know, other things unfolded around the possibilities. But I think that's where it really took root. Yeah.
Yeah, and Carol and I both had connections to Prince Edward County, very deep connections, deep love of the land and the landscape. And for me in particular, the water, having grown up on Salmon Point down right at the tip of Prince Edward County. And there are so many long landscapes there that called to be danced in. And prior to starting the Flight Festival, Carol did a few years of work creating dance for the Eno Gallery, the outdoor sculpture garden where the dancers would move through. And that was very special activity, and it was very well received. And we saw their potential for something bigger as well.
I guess I could also say that, I am lucky enough to have a cottage in Prince Edward County, and I've been going there since 1995, which is a long time now. So I watched all the other arts kind of, have this incredible, fulsome development in the county, but really very, very little dance. So, and Arwyn and I taught a bit at Baxter Arts Center in Bloomfield, a local art center. So, we were kind of seeding activity where and when we could as well. So all of that. Yeah.
It sounds so beautiful. I know I studied recreational dance. I was fortunate enough to have that growing up here because I grew up in the county since I was 6 months old. So this is really near and dear to my heart because I also love dance. And you're right, there wasn't really much of that happening. The nice thing about the county is that it is such a vibrant arts hub. And now, inspired by the landscape, inspired by our spaces, you're bringing this beautiful art form. And the fact that you're able to pop it up in a very, I would say it's more welcome now. The pop-up is amazing, but traditionally you're expected, buy a ticket and go into a specific venue. So just taking advantage of the landscape is quite wonderful. And so, how important is it to the rural and remote arts ecosystem to have dance festivals in our communities? Because many of our communities are also quite small.
Mm-hmm.
I pose that question to you. How important is it?
Yeah, well, I was just driving back from the county to Toronto today, and as I was, surviving, I was thinking about this issue and thinking about actually how other countries, many, many, many decades ago, in Germany, in the UK, in France, and in Belgium, and many other countries, they decentralized dance. So there's not this thing where, there's only dance in a big city. In Ontario's case, in, Ottawa and Toronto, basically. And it works really well. In those places as well, there is a clear commitment to the idea of commitment to community work, not just professional work, but community work. I mean, I know that dance artists in the UK, it's part of their profile. They are fully expected to be very active in community work. And it goes back right to the beginnings of our arts funding in Canada, because when the Massey Commission made its recommendations before the Canada Council even started in 1951, which is, our major government funding agency, there was a decision made whether to go with community arts or professional arts. And the decision was taken at that time to fund professional arts, the development of professional arts. But you know what? That's really shifting. That's really changing a lot now. From the point of view of artists who want to be engaged in scenarios other than just the urban scene. Yeah. So that's part of it for me is a bigger picture idea of what can develop for dance. And another thing is that, here we are meeting in this miraculous kind of space, which is Zoom. But as our world gets more and more and more technological, as AI is kind of looming over us, we need embodied experiences. We need to see live performance. We really actually need this, not things which are mediated or digitized, but actual live in the moment experiences of moving and seeing dancers move.
I agree. I think, being able to connect, there's an energy that surges across.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just makes it feel a lot more community minded and a lot more accessible to it. It's more tangible. You can actually, go out and not touch the dancers during the dance, but feel like you are and feel like you're a part of it. And you both do a lot of work, outside of the flight festival itself, but education and movement and working with people, which I think is quite wonderful, and bringing access to a small community like ours, with these incredible opportunities to learn these different types of dance and to see these different types of performers dance. And when I was growing up in the county, very limited diversity, and now it's like really exploding. And the educational opportunity for everyone is there. So yeah, that's just so wonderful. What advice would you give to artists or administrators who are working towards creating a dance festival? Because that's a big, like when you say festival, it's a big term. It could be a little intimidating. So what advice do you have?
Well, we were laughing earlier, the flight this will be our third summer, and we are by no means anywhere near experts. We are very much beginners in this adventure, and we are very much flying by the seat of our pants and, like everyone is, trying to figure it out as we go. So it may be too early to give advice.
Right.
We're learning all the things not to do, but I think something, Carol, that has been important from the very beginning is our commitment to the essence of flight. If you got a good idea, and Carol has always said this, it will attract good people. I don't know if the word good, but there's an energy and an excitement to it. And we really spend a lot of time communicating with each other in our team. So there are 5 of us on the flight creative circle, making all the decisions. We work in a circle for all of our weekly meetings and all of our, and you know, that's maybe a model that isn't as common. Often there's, you know, an artistic director and maybe a sort of hierarchical schema, whereas we really wanted to see, again, a decolonized as much as possible what we could do there. So so far so good with our model. I think it's just, it feels like, you know, we have 5 of us together. The other members are Sophie Dow, Kristen Foote, and Jordana DeVoe. It's certainly like we're going through it together. So we aren't feeling isolated. What else was I going to say about it? Yeah, so the Flight Festival has these 4 branches, and one of them is performance, and that's what we tend to focus on because it's so visual and it's so striking. But of course, we have the other facets that are education, community, and connection. And so, as you said, education, for me, allowing people who are new to dance to feel dance in their bodies and to get a sense of what it means to express physically is extremely important to learning to, you know, consume the art form. Yeah, so when you're watching it, you can connect to it kinesthetically, I think.
I love the name Flight Festival. I think there's a lot that goes into that name. So who decided that? Like, when did that come together? And I think it's very layered and quite beautiful. I mean, you make me want to take flight, Arwyn, when you're moving, you know, and Karen, when you're moving, I feel that joy and I feel that passion that's kind of coming across the screen. So goodness, people, come to the Flight Festival and see it in person. But Flight, please explain a little bit more about that.
Well, we thought about a lot of names, something to do with the land, but you know, I think one of the things about Flight is that we really conceive of the dancer as standing between the earth and the sky, and that's where our festival happens. That's where that's the dancer's habitat, you know. But there's this urge to fly that is really intrinsic to dancing, to the act of dancing, to the love of dancing, to the joy of dancing. I like the word. I'm a word nerd, so I like the word because it has the word fly and it also has the word light in it. So the combo of those two is pretty good, and it's yeah, you know, seeing a dancer take flight is thrilling. So yeah,
it's quite moving. It's quite moving. So you mentioned you have 5 folks on your core team, which is exciting. And I would say what I've learned from your advice is just do it. Just take the risk and jump in and do a festival, even if you don't know anything about it. So aside from that, you do have performers. So who is on your roster for this year? Who can we see during the festival?
We've just been so fortunate to have these really extraordinary performers. Kristen Foote is probably the most recognizable. If you've come to the festival the last couple of years, you might recognize Kristen as the dancer that appears on our posters. And when you asked about the name of the festival, I also think of Kristen Foote because of she does she's pretty extraordinary in that she has access to these really important historical solos, Isadora Duncan solo and Jose Limon, and this summer she's doing a work by Doris Humphrey, really important historical work. And for some reason I can't hear the word flight without thinking of the picture of Kristen in flight. So she's one of our performers as well as a member of the creative team. Jordana's performing, Sophie's performing, Carol and I are both performing. So it's very important for us as a creative team to also be involved creatively and, visibly as part of the festival. This year we've got, Sophie is collaborating with Beanie John, who again is a flight friend who's been with us from the beginning, world champion hoop dancer, and they're making a work together this year. So that's going to be exciting. Carol is working with the community dancers, Blue Groove. So this is a group coming out of Groove Tonic that works at the town hall, and they're making a piece for the stage show. It's really exciting. We've got Kat Burns performing with us. Our local musician friend is going to be singing for my piece, The Selkies. And
Oh, wow.
then I can list more, or you need to go to our website to see them all, but I'll just name quickly Libido, Mystic Sister, Ralph S. Chameleon, Natasha Poon-Woo, Ellis Martin Wiley, Kendra Epic, Julia Applin. Rihanna Harris from Wellington is dancing with us, and dancers from the Ontario Dance Academy in Belleville as well. So it's a big cast.
It is a huge cast and quite an age range, right?
Mm.
You've got these young folks. And I think that's so awesome. How do you choose your dancers? You know, like you have to cap it at so many, right? Like, you can't just have everybody. So what goes into the process of choosing?
Well, sometimes time. Artists are busy. So one of the performers with us this year, Jara Wolf, we actually spoke to him for about our first festival, and we're finally getting him to come in and perform, which is fantastic. He's a very busy artist. We're very aware that we are developing an audience. So Arwyn and I, and all of us actually have a pretty good sense of what's happening in the Canadian dance community and beyond. And we are mindful of inviting artists whose work we know will resonate with people who are coming to see it. That's basically it. Also, you know, the festival has priorities in terms of who and what we are putting on stage. Contemporary dance, as created and performed by Indigenous dance artists, dancers of the global majority, and legacy dance. And as I was thinking about this idea, like, how do those things all hang together? They do, because dance is such an ephemeral art form. Its history is constantly in danger of being lost. And, you know, anything that we can do as actions toward reconciliation with our Indigenous people against whom we have created such terrible wrongs. One of them has literally been to try to erase their history. So that thing of activating, claiming, showing history, to me, that has a philosophical kind of alignment with the overall priorities of flight. So that is kind of behind, in the background, in the depth of how we choose our artists as well.
Thank you. What makes presenting a festival like Flight in Prince Edward County different than presenting in urban areas? I think we've touched on it just a little bit, but if you just want to expand on that a little bit more, maybe the process, the styles, like if it's, I mean, you're still doing like very Indigenous work. So just curious as to, would that affect your staging? Would it affect the size of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Eddie Pavilion stage is very specific. It's wonderful for theater. It's and it's wonderful for solo dance. It's tricky once you get more than one or two dancers on there. So we're gonna, Carol's piece, I think, with how many dancers? Like 9 dancers. That's gonna be, it's gonna be jam-packed up on the stage. So that's one consideration. And while there are wonderful troops of ensemble dancers that we would like to bring, it's just not part of the vision at the moment. And that's okay, because it makes this little jewel box of these solos that are just spectacular, and it's kind of delicious to eat one after another, I find. And then the other unique thing about being in an urban area, rural area on the gorgeous farm at the Eddy, is that we can do these site shows. And last year was our first year to try this out. This is where the audience moves around to various sites on the farm to see various works. And so last year, Santee Smith and Gahawi Dance performed a trio in a garden planted, that Jordana planted, of these sunflowers, and then moved, over to another area to see another piece. And then we're going to be doing the Selkies piece again, which takes place on the pond with 10 dancers this year on paddle boards. And so I don't know that we could do that in the city.
No, that would be quite interesting. I don't know, on some grass. I don't know how you would do that, but that's quite spectacular. Carol, any thoughts on this?
Well, I guess that one of the things about a rural area or Prince Edward County is that there aren't a lot of other options for people to go and see dance. So it certainly is. That's unique. It is a unique event there. Yeah.
It's quite a special thing. I think we're
Yeah.
quite dense in, like painting, artists, galleries, musicians, theater, the dance. You really, really cornered the market here. And it's very exciting. And the fact that, Prince Edward County, which is so vibrant, it took such a long time to establish that here. I'm just wondering about all these other rural communities. Like, whereabouts are they? Do you know of any other dance festivals that are happening? Have you thought about potentially, popping up and going to other places logistically? Does that make sense to you? I'm really wondering. I think this is a very fantastic opportunity for other SPARC groups or people that are thinking about, in doing this. Like, I think there's a great opportunity there because there aren't many doing it, I guess.
Yeah. The idea, I don't know, Arwyn, the idea of moving flight to somewhere else, wow, that would be like a giant logistical circus. That would be huge. It really actually takes a lot of work to, and I guess this is something that we could say to people who are thinking about it, just the logistics of traveling people and finding accommodation for them and, finding time that suits everybody's busy schedules. That's amazing. But, not to discourage the idea of doing something in another place. I know there are people working in Kingston now. They have a festival. I haven't been yet, but hope to go. I know there's someone working in Aurelia, whether that's a festival activity, I'm not so sure, or whether that's more project-based. I'm not sure. There are festivals in Toronto, but that's Toronto.
Guelph has a decent.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's rural or urban. I don't.
Yeah. It's a small city.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, there are a lot of logistics involved. It takes quite a while, like to plan your festival. Like you would say, it sounds like it would be a full year, I'm guessing, by the time you pick your themes, your dancers, and everything else. Are there any other challenges or successes that have been unique to presenting in a rural area? So first, let's talk about challenges. There's got to be challenges. You just addressed a few of them about accommodation and that sort of thing, and then successes. The good and the bad and all the beautiful stuff in between, because we're all can experience it, right? Any festival you do, there's a little bit of everything, but any unique challenges or successes for a dance festival in a rural area?
I would say that anyone who has run a dance festival, I suppose, will have had the experience of having good years and bad years in terms of ticket sales as a metric. But so our first summer, we were super well received. We sold out our shows. We were thrilled and expected the second year to be the same. And we struggled to feel good about our ticket sales. But I remember being just remarkable was that, the dancers didn't hold back their extraordinary performances, even for a tiny audience. They just put it out there with such grace and exuberance. And so I think that's sort of a challenge success moment.
Yeah, just as context, we were not alone. Audiences for performing arts across the province were way, way down. So that was something that we were just coping with. I mean, those COVID years, wow, starting a festival during COVID was like Hmm.
It's a little.
It was actually amazing because the first year people were so happy to have something that they could go to that was outside, that was safe. People were just thrilled to bits. And the second year there was that hesitation. There was also, looming economic gloom everywhere. And so yeah, it was a struggle last year. So that I would say that's one of our challenges, is to keep building audience and keep making programs that people will absolutely love and be engaged by and come back to, tell their friends about, bring their kids to,
Sure, there's many future dancers in that audience. They're just like sparked by you guys. I'm sure you get plenty of parents coming to you afterwards, and I know it happens with me sometimes when I do theater, and they're like, "Ooh." But yeah, I mean, the arts have suffered. We're bouncing back a little bit. So, as far as your successes, what would you say are the successes? Those moments that you get to celebrate a lot.
Well, another one I'm thinking of was during our first year, where we like to do a lot of connection with the audience before the show, introducing the dancers or introducing some of the work, and then question and answer period after the show. And you can see photos of us doing our bow at the end, and we're just sort of like shocked that it happened, and we're bowing and we're smiling our faces off. And then to hear the response from the audience, and the questions in particular that was special. And that first year, there was a young dancer in the audience who had a question for Kristen Foote, who's a Black dancer. And this was a little Black dancer in the audience whose question was, what would you advise for a young Black girl who wants to be a dancer? And it was this beautiful moment where I don't know how frequently an opportunity people have in Prince Edward County, which is very white, very conservative, and we haven't got the kind of diversity that we're used to. And so that was, I think, a success in that we just think of Kristen kind of as Kristen, but to realize that the visibility of her on the stage was so significant.
Mm-hmm.
The impact that can have.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be life-changing, for.
Yeah. I would say one of the successes that we've had is the incredible artists we've invited to come, who have appeared. I mean, Santi Smith is like major. And there she was with two dancers in this garden last year. And because we were doing this site show, her work is land-based. So that appealed to her, and she's a busy, like a crazy busy person, but she made time to come and do the festival, which was amazing. Yeah. So, the artists who perform with us are just amazing.
Yeah, they're world-class. We're so fortunate. One of our dancers who's coming this summer, Ralph Escamillion, just won really fabulous award from the National Arts Center and was presented as part of the Governor General's Awards as an emerging artist. And this kid is a dynamo, and we are so excited to promote him and can't wait for you all to see him. Wow. And similarly, yeah, we're thrilled to have Jera. I mean, we're thrilled to have Natasha Poon Woo. This is a huge star in the dance world. Yeah. She's our buddy, and she's just coming because we know her,
You got some cool buddies. You got some great buddies. And like you said, you put that energy out there and you attract it. And I think, you're staying really close to your core and your values, and that will attract so much incredible energy and make everyone take flight. Very, very exciting. So it sounds like the reception in the community, how has it been so far? I'm hearing some really good things. And do you receive a lot of support from our community here?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Right, Carol? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. People have been very kind and welcoming and happy. Arwyn also is extraordinarily committed to creating connections in the community, and has emerged as a spectacular fundraiser. Holy smokes.
Oh,
well, yeah.
Don't say that. Not yet. I'm working on it.
Watch out. You're
Well.
going to be the head fundraiser from now on, Arwyn. You, I don't know. Yeah, there were some pretty neat things. You guys just did a really cool collaboration with Peach Berserk, right?
Oh,
That was pretty cool. So these community partnerships and collaborations that extend beyond the dancing itself is pretty neat.
Yeah, we were lucky, and I met Judith Burfoot, I think in 2020. I'm not sure exactly, but Judith, who runs All Welcome Here and who is very deliberately making a welcoming space for people of the global majority in Prince Edward County. And so we partnered in the very first year, and Judith introduced our festival. And I think that's a partnership that's really important. Also, I worked for a few years with the Department of Illumination, Krista Dalby, who is just, the brains behind community connection and community and animation. And so certainly learning from Krista how to, Krista's had such terrific success with building community through the arts. And so I think we benefit from some of the work that she and the other people in Department of Illumination and other organizations like that have already done in the county.
Yeah, and Krista's a member of the SPARC Board as well, and I know that I've worked with her as well, and she just sparks it. I mean, I think such a perfect name: Department of Illumination, Flight Festival, all these really great, wonderful opportunities here. Can you each take a moment to share with us a story that sums up why you do what you do and why your work is important to you?
Well, I'll start. Yesterday evening at exactly this hour, I was in the beautiful Picton Town Hall working with a group of community dancers who have worked with one of the people has been teaching with something called community arts, and the others are members of Groove Tonic, who meet every Tuesday and dance. And we're collaborating on creating a piece for the festival, which is going to be on the stage. They're not dancers. Some of them have a dance background. Some of them have a love of dance. And it's so fun. It's like extraordinarily wonderful for me to be working with these people. I mean, I'm a lifelong dance artist. Nothing excites me more still than setting a room full of people in motion. So, for me, that's like, yes, that's what makes me take over, I guess. Sorry, a bad word to use in the county. That makes me really excited. And so to be working with this group of movers to create a score, to create a dance that will be part of our stage show, that's just, it doesn't get any better than that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had similar moments of just heartwarming connection with the kids in the Grass Says Lava camp. That's the summer dance camp that's connected with Flight. And in answering the question, why do I do what I do? Why do we do what we do? I think Carol and I recognized that we are both white, and we've both, you never think of your life as an artist as a life of privilege. But the reality is we have had a lot of privilege within the dance world. And so now we're in a position where we can make space for more marginalized artists. And I think that's something that it continues to be fulfilling for me to be creating a platform, and rather than taking the spotlight, which I love to do as well, of course, but to be able to facilitate I'm very committed to making a safe space for connection. And so the fact that these brave Black and Indigenous artists have come to this very white place and you know, I think it takes courage to get up there and do that in this climate in a way. And so I feel like what we're doing in that capacity is, you know, anti-racism work, and it's decolonizing work, even if sometimes it feels like it's not enough. We are artists. We're doing what we do best. So yeah.
We've got to start somewhere. And I think in a small community like ours, it's more important than ever to do that. And, you know, I just have to say that just listening to both of you speak this evening, I've been so inspired by both of you and moved almost to tears. I think you really get to the core of why you love it, why you're so passionate about it. And I think us as artists and educators, we do it. We want to share the love and the importance of it. You know, movement, any type of art, there's a story, there's storytelling, you are representing and giving people a space, a safe space to do what they would love to do and what's important for them to share with us. And so thank you for sharing this evening. Super excited. If people want to find out a little bit more about the two of you and Flight Festival, where can they go?
Our website is www.flightfestivalpec.org, O-R-G, not C-A. But if you Google Flight Festival, we'll come up and you'll see us. We're presented by County Stage, and County Stage has a terrific season. And so you're best to go to their website, and then you can see all the things going on, as well as all the flight activities and all the artist bios there. And then we're on social media, Facebook, Instagram at Flight Festival PEC.
And then if people wanted to reach out to you, find out a little bit more through SPARC and that sort of thing.
Yes.
As, you know, mentors, as consultants, you know, I think that's a really beautiful thing about SPARC, is just making those connections with other like-minded folks to find out what's going on and to learn a little bit more. People direct them your way a little bit.
I hope that SPARC friends will come and join us at the festival, and we have a lot of fun parties around the festival too. So.
All right. Well, no, I think it's more than,
yeah.
You get to celebrate afterwards. You deserve it.
I know, but those are a good time to connect and really sort of.
You really kind of, you know, you throw everything off, you know, you got dancing, and now it's just, you don't have to worry. You've done everything. Well, thank you again. I could go on and just keep chatting with you guys, but it's almost dinner time for some of us, and really appreciate your time. So I just want to say thank you to our panelists this evening, and thanks to everyone who watched live or is watching after the fact. We are recording this for YouTube, so you can catch up on that. We're so happy you've been here with us. Join us next month on June 28th. We're joined by Erica May from the Northern Arts Connection. See you then. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you, Georgia. Thanks to SPARC.